live in an era where reality stars are actively engineering alternate realities just to survive. They are crafting entirely fictional timelines, rewriting their own histories, and honestly, gaslighting the public with a level of precision that would impress a literal Cold War spy. And the scariest part, it's starting to bleed into our own lives. Babes, welcome back. We love you, we see you, and honestly, before we even attempt to get into the absolute celebrity chaos that has taken over the internet this week, can we talk about the fact that our own lives are starting to sound like rejected Bravo storylines? Because I am currently operating on a frequency that can only be described as a real housewife who just realized her microphone was hot during a private bathroom breakdown.
Oh, it is genuinely concerning how much the simulation is glitching right now.
Yeah.
I mean, the barrier between reality television and actual reality has completely dissolved.
Yeah.
We are all just producing our own lives at this point, and frankly, we're doing a terrible job of it.
A horrific job. 0 out of 10 producing skills.
Right. The celebrities have completely lost their minds, the reality stars are acting like cartoon villains, and meanwhile, we're just sitting here trying to maintain our own crumbling sanity while navigating an increasingly hostile world. But first things first. Snark Squad, grab your glasses. We need to tell you what aggressively garnished, borderline lethal cocktails we are drinking tonight, because survival requires hydration. And by hydration, I mean liquor that masks the taste of existential dread.
Yes, absolutely. Tonight, I am drinking what I am legally calling the cease and desist. It is this spicy mezcal margarita, but I rimmed the glass with tajin and crushed up Takis.
Wait, crushed Takis, that is unhinged.
It is so aggressive, and there is a dehydrated blood orange floating in it that literally looks like a shrunken head. It is salty, it is burning my throat in the best way possible. It is a drink that fights back, which feels appropriate for today. So cheers to you, Snark Squad, for surviving another completely exhausting, soul-sucking Tuesday. We made it.
Cheers to that. I went a slightly more clinical route. I am drinking a martini so dirty it needs to be legally subpoenaed.
Oh my God, yes.
I asked the bartender for extra olives, and he gave me a look like I had just insulted his ancestors, but I do not care. I needed the salt. I needed the sodium to replace the tears I shed over my own to-do list this morning, because honestly, today was a lot. And I need us to have a full Bessie therapy session right now before we even look at a pop culture headline.
Please, because my entire day was completely derailed by a minor inconvenience that triggered a full-blown personality crisis. And when I say minor, I mean microscopic to the outside world. But in my internal landscape, it was an apocalyptic event. I lost my favorite lip gloss.
Oh no, we're talking about the Holy Grail, aren't we?
Yes. Fenty Gloss Bomb. And it is not just a cosmetic product, okay? We need to be clear about the psychology here. That specific shade is the physical manifestation of the illusion of control in my life.
Oh, 100%. It holds it all together.
Right. It is the gloss that makes me look like I have my life together, even when I have exactly $4 in my checking account and a mountain of unfolded laundry staring at me from the corner of my bedroom. So I reached into my purse, which, by the way, is less of a bag and more of a black hole where receipts, bobby pins, and my shattered dreams go to die, and it wasn't there.
Which immediately sends the nervous system into fight or flight.
Exactly. I proceeded to rip my entire apartment apart like I was executing a federal search warrant. I lifted couch cushions. I found a fossilized French fry from 2023. I found a remote control for a television I haven't owned since before the pandemic, but no lip gloss. And suddenly, as I'm sitting on the floor surrounded by couch cushions and dust bunnies, I realized I wasn't just crying about the lip gloss.
You never are. The lip gloss is just the catalyst.
Exactly. I was crying about the relentless passing of time. I was crying about the inevitability of aging, the fact that I haven't been to the dentist in a year because I'm terrified of what they'll find, and just my general inability to hold on to good things in my life. I was fully unhinged. I felt like a cast member on a reunion couch screaming, "You don't know what I've been through," over a tube of shiny, sticky liquid.
I completely understand the mechanics of that breakdown, because it is exactly what you just said. It's the illusion of control.
Right.
When the world feels entirely out of our hands, when the economy is terrifying, when our careers are stressful, when relationships are complicated, we anchor our sanity to these tiny, manageable micro-routines. Applying that specific lip gloss is your brain's way of saying, see, we have a routine. We are safe.
Wow.
And when the gloss disappears, the anchor snaps, and you are suddenly adrift in the terrifying reality that you actually control nothing.
That is the most validating sociological read of my mental breakdown. Thank you. It felt like my life was fully unraveling.
But if you want to talk about the total unraveling of boundaries, let's talk about the group chat waking me up at 4:47 a.m. this morning.
No. Why? Who is legally allowed to be awake at that hour unless they are a baker or a newborn baby?
Apparently, our friends who have absolutely zero respect for the circadian rhythm. My phone starts buzzing on the nightstand. Not a gentle vibration, but the aggressive, continuous buzzing that makes it sound like a mechanical hornet is trapped in the room. I wake up in a cold sweat.
Oh, that is the worst feeling.
The primitive part of my brain immediately assumes there is a family emergency. Or worse, that I accidentally liked my ex's new girlfriend's Instagram photo from a beach trip in 2018.
The ultimate modern nightmare. I would literally have to move to a new country.
Right. I grab the phone, squinting through the brightness of 1,000 suns, and what is it? It is not an emergency. It is a link. A link to a TikTok rabbit hole about a woman who is meticulously documenting her neighbor's aggressively passive-aggressive wind chimes.
Wait, I need to know the entire lore of this immediately. Wind chimes.
It was a 36-part series. And because my prefrontal cortex was entirely compromised by sleep deprivation, I clicked it. I fell right into the algorithm's trap. I watched part 1, where she introduces the bamboo chimes. Then I watched part 2, where she measures the decibel level from her patio.
She measured the decibels. That is unhinged behavior.
Completely. Suddenly, the sun is coming up, the birds are actually chirping outside my real window, and I am deeply emotionally invested in whether Brenda from the Homeowners Association is going to take a pair of garden shears to this lawn decor. I lost 3 hours of my life to a stranger's neighborhood dispute. My entire evening was consumed by it. I didn't make dinner. I just sat in the dark, scrolling, eating handfuls of dry cereal straight from the box like a feral raccoon.
Okay, but this brings up such a fascinating point about the attention economy. Like, TikTok is literally a hostage situation by design. The algorithm doesn't just show you content, it finds the exact frequency of petty human conflict that perfectly distracts you from your own existential dread.
Yes, it hijacks the brain.
We care about Brenda's wind chimes because the stakes are so phenomenally low. If Brenda cuts the chimes, nobody goes to jail, the economy doesn't crash. It's just pure, digestible suburban drama. We microdose other people's manageable problems because our own problems feel too immense to tackle.
That's exactly it. It is a displacement tactic.
Mm.
I am ignoring the emails I have to answer by obsessing over bamboo chimes in a state I don't even live in.
Mm.
It's brilliant, and it's terrifying how easily we hand over our cognitive real estate.
Speaking of terrifying environments where society completely breaks down, can we talk about my grocery store run today?
The one that you texted me about, in all caps, I was worried you were going to need bail money.
I genuinely almost did. I went in for 3 items. Almond milk, avocados, and a rotisserie chicken. A smash and grab. A tactical strike. I should have been in and out in 10 minutes. But I made the fatal error of going at 5:30 p.m. on a weekday.
Oh, rookie mistake.
Huh.
That is the witching hour. You can't go then.
I know. The parking lot was a scene from Mad Max. People were fighting over spots with their eyes, communicating pure hostility through their windshields. I finally get inside, and it's gridlock in the produce aisle. People are just abandoning their carts in the middle of the aisle to go inspect a melon. But the real tragedy happened at the checkout line.
Oh, brace yourself. What happened?
I get behind a woman who has a cart filled to the brim. She is in the 15 items or less lane. I counted, babe. She had at least 47 items. And then the ultimate betrayal of the social contract happened. She decided to write a physical check.
A physical check. In this economy, in the year of our Lord 2026.
A physical paper check. And she didn't even have it ready. She had to find her pen, which was buried at the bottom of a tote bag the size of a small European car. Then she wanted to argue with the cashier about a 20-cent coupon for canned beans that expired 3 years ago. I was standing there, holding a hot rotisserie chicken that was slowly reverting to room temperature, feeling my youth physically leave my body.
Let's dissect this, because the 15-item or less lane is not just a suggestion. It is the absolute baseline of societal trust.
Exactly. It's a social contract.
When you bypass that rule, you are essentially announcing to the entire store that your time is vastly more valuable than everyone else's. And writing a check, that is a deliberate hostage situation. It's fascinating how one person's refusal to adapt to modern technology forces an entire line of people to bend to their will. It's a bizarre power trip disguised as quaint nostalgia.
It really is. I was fuming. I almost FaceTimed you just so I could narrate the tragedy in real time, but I figured you were busy.
I am so incredibly thankful you didn't, because I was trapped in my own digital hostage situation. I got a call from a relative who shall remain nameless, but who absolutely does not understand the concept of a wrap-up signal. You know the conversational mechanics of the wrap-up when you do the... Well, anyway, and you audibly slap your knees.
Yes. The knee slap is the universal internationally recognized sign for, I love you, but I need to hang up now before I perish.
Exactly. It is a polite off-ramp.
No.
I deployed the knee slap. I used the decelerating tone of voice. I said, wow, that's crazy. I said, well, I should probably let you get back to your evening. Nothing worked.
Oh no, conversational Teflon.
It was literally conversational Teflon. None of my exit strategy stuck.
Yeah.
They just kept pivoting to a completely new, unrelated topic.
Oh, that reminds me of this article I read about copper piping. I was trapped on that FaceTime call for an extra hour and a half, nodding politely while holding my phone at that deeply unflattering low chin angle.
Oh, not the low chin angle. The double chin.
Yes. I was just watching my battery slowly drain from 20% down to 1%, praying for the sweet technological release of a dropped call.
It is physical torture because with FaceTime, you can't even multitask. You have to maintain eye contact. You are pinned down. But listen, to combat all this chaos, the wind chimes, the check writers, the FaceTime captors, I have fully leaned into a brand new coping mechanism, a complete delusion.
Okay, lay it on me. I am convinced at a cellular level that if I just buy this specific $75 aesthetic planner I saw heavily targeted to me on Instagram, my entire life will magically fall into place.
Ooh, the magical thinking planner.
Wow.
The multi-billion-dollar cornerstone of the wellness industrial complex.
Let me defend it. I am telling myself that if I have this heavy-duty, vegan leather, undated planner with the specific cream-colored paper and the 2 little ribbon bookmarks, I will undergo a metamorphosis. I will suddenly become the type of woman who wakes up at 5 a.m. without an alarm.
Naturally.
I will drink hot lemon water instead of iced coffee. I will do morning Pilates. I will stop overdrafting my bank account, and I will become this emotionally stable, wealthy wellness guru. I am not buying paper and binding. I am buying a new identity.
It is so brilliantly predatory how they market those things to us. The delusion is so potent, and yet I fully support you because I am guilty of the exact same thing. I just bought a set of specialized pastel highlighters to color code a schedule that I have not even written yet for a life I do not currently lead.
Right, like we're color coding our fantasy lives.
We buy these organizational tools because they offer a momentary hit of dopamine. For the 5 minutes you are clicking add to cart, you actually believe you have solved the fundamental disorganization of your soul.
Exactly. It's cheaper than actual therapy, even at $75. We are all just doing our best to survive this bizarre modern existence.
We really are. But babes, enough about our beautifully chaotic, hyper-analyzed lives. As much as I love our therapy sessions, we have a job to do. Let's get into the celebrity gossip, the viral drama, and the absolute internet madness that brought us all here tonight. Because if you think we are delusional, wait until we unpack what the Bravo universe has been up to.
Yes. Let's pivot to the real mess. And we have to kick things off by heading out east to the Hamptons. We are officially entering the Kyle Cooke cinematic universe. Right now, this storyline is aggressively crossing over between Summer House and Southern Charm, and it is a pure, unadulterated psychological train wreck. We are talking about the collapse of a Bravo marriage, immediately followed by one of the messiest, most public rebounds in recent history.
The in-studio reunion was a masterclass in how to dismantle a relationship on camera. We need to dissect this carefully because Amanda Batula dropped some absolute bombshells, and the underlying mechanics of how she delivered them were fascinating. She fully accused Kyle of cheating on her during their 4-year marriage.
And it wasn't just a vague accusation. She brought receipts. She said she got confirmation from a friend of the woman he allegedly slept with. She stated very calmly that it was 100% true that he had sex with this woman while they were married.
And of course, Kyle immediately denied it.
Right. But Amanda's counterargument was devastatingly accurate and highlights a toxic dynamic they've had for years. She essentially said, well, throughout our relationship, half the time you didn't have an answer for where you were, you didn't know what happened, and you didn't remember your nights out. So I don't know what's true and what's not because you literally can't remember.
This is such a critical point to analyze. What Amanda is highlighting here is weaponized incompetence mixed with substance abuse as a defense mechanism. For years, Kyle's entire brand on reality television has been the fun guy who gets too blackout drunk to remember his actions past midnight.
Exactly. The whole summer should be fun brand.
Right. It's great for camera time, but in a marriage, it creates an impossible legalistic loophole. When your partner's default defense is, I was too drunk to remember, you completely lose the right to definitively deny anything. How can you look your wife in the eye and say, I absolutely did not sleep with that woman, when your established baseline is that you don't even remember eating a pizza at 2 a.m.?
Exactly. You cannot claim total amnesia and total innocence at the same time. They are mutually exclusive. Amanda pointed out that either way, whether he physically cheated or not, he is constantly putting himself in wildly inappropriate situations where people are getting the right idea and these rumors keep surfacing. But what really got me emotional and what strips away the glossy Bravo facade was when Amanda started opening up about their sex life. She admitted that they had only had sex 3 times in their entire 4-year marriage. 3 times.
That number is staggering, especially when you consider they are filming a television show centered around youth, partying, and hookup culture.
It is heartbreaking. And she didn't blame it all on him. She talked very openly about her battle with clinical depression, saying, depression will do that. She said she felt like she was just an object at that point. The depression hit her hard. They were getting into massive fights. He was still going out and party until dawn. And it was just this perfect storm of resentment and emotional distance.
And then Kyle tries to defend himself by using this incredibly corporate logic.
Ugh, yes. He says, well, I was the one arranging every date, every trip, every getaway. I was putting in the hours to provide for a family later.
Which completely misses the point of emotional intimacy.
Right. Amanda said that his constant scheduling made her feel like she was put on the back burner. It felt like their marriage was just another task on his entrepreneurial to-do list. It felt like a chore for him to hang out with his wife, not a romance.
Okay, here is where I want to push back on Kyle's narrative, specifically regarding his behavior on the night Amanda actually packed her bags and moved out. Let's really analyze the psychology of this moment. Amanda is packing up her life. It is arguably the most painful, vulnerable, rock-bottom night of their entire relationship. And what does Kyle do? According to Kyle, he went out, coped by drinking, and brought home a gay guy and his best friend, and it was quote-unquote very innocent.
Right. And Amanda immediately clocks the lie of omission and says the best friend was a woman.
Exactly. He brings a random woman and a guy back to their apartment on the exact night his wife is actively moving out. And he doesn't just bring them home, he blasts the music so loud that the bass is literally vibrating the neighbors' walls to the point where the neighbors are buzzing the doorbell to complain.
That is so disrespectful.
Amanda said it was weird and wildly inappropriate. Kyle's excuse was that he didn't want to be involved in the chaos of her move, so he created a distraction. So I have to ask you, was Kyle's obnoxious bass-thumping after-party a deliberate, calculated self-sabotage? Was it a reality TV survival tactic to drive Amanda away so he could play the victim of a failed marriage? Or do you think he is genuinely, clinically that oblivious to human emotion?
Oh, I have strong feelings about this.
Yeah.
While I think he is deeply emotionally stunted, I am going to push back on the idea that he's a mastermind playing 4D chess. I don't think he calculated a master plan to drive her away to secure a victim at it. I think this is a classic case of male avoidance.
Elaborate on that.
Well, when men who lack emotional regulation tools face a massive emotional confrontation, like their wife leaving them, they panic. They revert to their basest comfort zones. For Kyle, that comfort zone is loud music, strangers, and alcohol. He didn't want to sit in a quiet apartment and watch her pack because that would require feeling the grief, so he flooded the zone with noise.
That is a very fair read. But regardless of his intentionality, the impact was catastrophic. Amanda even admitted at the reunion that when she was packing, she was actually still holding on to a sliver of hope for their future. But the fact that he chose to leave things on that specific, deeply disrespectful note changed her feelings permanently. He actively killed any remaining hope she had with that one party. It was the nail in the coffin.
He really did. And Sally Carson is a whole other level of mess. We have to transition smoothly to Kyle's current fling. We are talking about Sally Carson from Southern
Oh,
Charm.
Sally.
So Sally recently went on Lala Kent's podcast, Sex Unlocked, and she was spilling details like her reality TV life depended on it. She was practically bragging about having morning sex with Kyle.
And we need to talk about the currency of TMI too much information in the podcast space.
Mm.
Why do reality stars go on these shows and overshare horrific details? Because shock value is the only leverage they have to secure screen time and algorithmic relevance.
Right. It's their only currency.
Sally knows exactly what she is doing. The details she gave. I did not need to know this. I was perfectly happy living my one precious life without this mental imagery. She said, and I quote, "I think I'm obsessed with morning sex. I never brush my teeth and they don't either."
Which is a biological nightmare. I've physically gagged.
It is a dental hygiene atrocity. But then she drops the visual that really defines their dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
She said, when me and Kyle had morning sex, he was on top. I was just like chilling.
I was just chilling. It is giving absolute starfish energy. It is giving, I am here to secure my spot on the Winter House cast. But here's the part of the interview that made me actually laugh out loud. Sally confirmed that she is heading into the summer house this weekend for a party while they're actively filming the new season. She said she is excited to see her quote-unquote short king, Kyle.
Calling him a short king is hilarious.
But she openly admitted to Lala that she is terrified and intimidated by Ciara Miller.
As well she should be. Ciara is a stunning, fiercely loyal goddess who will not tolerate an ounce of nonsense, especially from someone trying to capitalize on her friend's divorce.
Exactly. Think about the psychological warfare of this setup. Sally walking into that summer house, knowing Ciara is standing in the kitchen, is exactly like a nervous, unprepared substitute teacher walking into a high school classroom run by the senior mean girl clique. She knows she is out of her depth. She knows she doesn't have the social capital to survive.
She is going to be eaten alive.
Right. She knows they are going to eat her alive before the catered lunch even arrives, and she has to just stand there at the chalkboard with her dry erase marker and pray she survives the period without crying.
That is the most accurate sociological breakdown of Bravo casting I have ever heard. She is the substitute teacher about to get absolutely decimated by the popular girls, and honestly, it is brilliant producing by Bravo, and I cannot wait to watch it unfold.
It is going to be cinema. But speaking of chaotic Bravo men who refuse to grow up, we leave the Hamptons and head straight to the San Fernando Valley. Welcome to Section 2, babes. The Valley's villains.
Now it's the Valley, the absolute dark underbelly of reality television, where Peter Pan syndrome is practically a prerequisite for residency. And we have to start with the patron saint of terrible life choices, Jax Taylor.
Oh, Jax, the man who refuses to evolve. So, quick shade thrown at Jax, whose lawyers are now actively and publicly claiming that Brittany is the one delaying their divorce proceedings.
I saw this press leak, and the sheer audacity almost made me drop my phone. We need to explain exactly what is happening here, because this isn't just standard PR spin. This is a textbook psychological defense mechanism called DARVO.
Yes. Break that down for the listeners because it is so prevalent on these shows.
DARVO stands for Deny, Attack, and Reverse Victim and Offender. It is a strategy commonly used by people who have committed wrongs to evade accountability. First, you deny the behavior. Then you attack the person who is confronting you. Finally, you reverse the roles, claiming that you are actually the victim of their unreasonable demands.
It is so sinister.
This is exactly what Jax's camp is doing. This man has caused this woman insurmountable grief, public humiliation, and emotional turmoil for years. And now, when she finally files the paperwork to leave, his legal team leaks that she is the holdup. He creates the mess, sets the house entirely on fire, and then goes to the press to complain that the fire department isn't putting it out fast enough to his liking. It is psychological warfare designed to exhaust her into submission.
It really is Darvo in its purest form. He wants the public narrative to shift. He wants the audience to think, oh, poor Jason, he's just a guy trying to move on with his life, but his bitter ex is dragging it out in court. It's a calculated move to secure a favorable edit for the next season, but we see right through it.
100%.
The viewers are too smart now. We understand how production works, and we know who you are, Jason.
The audience has absolutely evolved past his tactics. But Jax isn't the only guy on the Valley currently embarrassing himself and failing to understand the modern audience. Let's talk about Danny Bucco.
Yes. The emergence of Darkside Danny. So break down this bizarre crossover. The Valley Season 3 reunion trailer just dropped, and it is a masterclass in delusion. Danny Bucco is in the hot seat. He is being confronted by the cast about his highly problematic drinking behavior and the frankly terrible way he spoke to and treated his wife Nia during the season. And how does a 42-year-old man defend his toxic behavior on a national television reunion? Does he take accountability? Does he apologize to his wife? No. He tries to use A-list actor Seth Rogen as a character witness.
It is a level of cognitive dissonance that belongs in a medical journal.
In the trailer, Danny is backed into a corner, and he literally points and says, Seth Rogen on your show said the same thing. It's like, where is this dark side, Danny? I haven't seen him. He is citing a celebrity whom he presumably does not even know personally to validate his toxic behavior, simply because Seth made a passing comment on a late-night talk show.
Right, and Lala Kent was there. Right?
Yes. Lala, who is guest starring at the reunion, immediately fires back with utter disdain, saying, well, if Seth Rogen said it, completely shutting down his ridiculous logic.
But we need to look at why Danny thought this would work. Danny is operating under the assumption that a parasocial celebrity endorsement absolves him of real-world accountability. He thinks, if Seth Rogen, the ultimate lovable stoner bro, thinks I'm fine, then my wife's feelings are invalid. It's the weaponization of pop culture against his own spouse. But the best part, the absolute defining moment of this entire debacle is the disruption of the reality TV ecosystem. Usually these Bravo stars exist in a bubble. But Seth Rogen himself actually logged onto Instagram, found the Bravo fan account posting the clip, and commented to correct the record.
I screamed when I saw the screenshot. Snark Squad, I screamed.
Seth wrote, and I quote, "For the record, I think Danny acts completely inappropriately."
Janet Caperna immediately responded to Seth's comment with a string of crying, laughing emojis and clapping hands. But I have to ask you, put yourself in Danny's shoes for a second. Can you imagine being so delusional that you cite an A-list stoner comedian as your character witness, only for him to personally log onto Instagram to destroy you?
It is a surgical strike on his ego. When an A-lister pierces the Bravo bubble just to tell you you're a terrible husband, you have to pack it up. It is a level of public humiliation that should require him to legally change his name, delete all his social media, and move to a remote cabin off the grid. You tried to borrow Seth Rogen's cultural cachet, and Seth Rogen essentially issued a cease and desist on your personality. It is beautiful.
Wow.
It is cosmic justice.
It really is. The power dynamic shifted entirely. But listen, while Danny Bucco is out here desperately trying to get celebrity endorsements, other reality stars are trying to literally infiltrate different networks and religions for screen time. Which brings us to Section 3, babes. Cross-franchise thirst.
Oh, the thirst is palpable. We are talking about the collision of Vanderpump Rules and Hulu's breakout hit, The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. This is a fascinating study in the modern reality TV economy.
This story completely broke my brain today. So, discuss Jesse Draper's revelation on Stassi Schroeder's new show, House of Stassi. Jesse drops a tactical piece of gossip right on the table. She reveals that Shiana Shea allegedly texted her, asking if she could join the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, because her husband, Brock Davies, quote-unquote, was Mormon.
Shiana Shea, the woman who quite literally just issued a press release announcing she was taking a much-needed break from reality television.
Exactly. And Stassi, being Stassi, immediately clarified that Brock wasn't Mormon, to which Jesse said that Shiana claimed he grew up Mormon.
Let's analyze the sheer desperation of this hustle.
Yeah.
The concept of clout chasing is often used as an insult, but in this ecosystem, it is a legitimate business model. Shiana sees that Bravo ratings might be stabilizing or dipping, while Hulu's unscripted slate is exploding in the cultural zeitgeist. She is terrified of irrelevance. So she is trying to leverage a decades-old technicality about her Australian husband's childhood religion to infiltrate an entirely different subculture.
Stassi nailed it in her confessional. She said Shiana absolutely loves the spotlight and that she would be far more surprised if Shiana didn't try to exploit a loophole to get on the hottest new show. Stassi said Shiana will 100% show up at my funeral and make it about her.
Stassi understands the assignment, as always, but the analogy here is what makes it so absurd. Shiana trying to join Mom Talk and the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, based on Brock's distant childhood ties, is literally like someone applying for a job as a pilot because they once played Microsoft Flight Simulator.
Yes, it is completely unhinged hustle culture. She's applying for a demographic she does not belong to. But here is where it gets dark. Because you know Shiana is not going to let someone expose her thirst texts without retaliating, Shiana immediately strikes back on her podcast.
Well, she went scorched earth. This is the PR strategy of mutually assured destruction.
Shiana spilled brand new details about Jesse Draper having an affair with Marciano Brunette while she was separated from Jordan Gatikara. Shiana claimed that Marciano apparently bragged about it to Shiana and Brock, showing them texts from Jesse saying her husband was cool with it.
Think about the mechanics of this feud. Shiana essentially said, "Oh, you want to go on Hulu and expose my innocent texts, asking to be invited to a party? I will go on my platform and expose your texts, inviting another man to your hotel room while you are married." Both sides have access to nuclear launch codes, which in 2026 means screenshots of private text messages, and neither is afraid to push the button.
It is so messy. But while we are on the topic of the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives cast, we have to talk about Taylor Frankie Paul's custody chaos.
Taylor's life is a constant, raging wildfire.
Just to update everyone on the legal reality of her situation, she has these DCFS abuse investigations declining separate custody deals from Tate and Dakota over her 2-year-old son, Ever. It is incredibly bleak, serious, real-world legal trouble. But highlight the weirdest detail. Taylor took to Instagram to show that she is keeping a physical binder of letters from Dakota, her alleged abuser, like a diary.
A meticulous, alphabetized binder of trauma.
Right. She claimed, "This type of shit is what I cherish the most," and acknowledging her own typos in the post. When people in the comments were rightfully alarmed, she casually replied that she keeps all letters from all people, kind of like a diary of that time.
This is the gamification of trauma. Keeping a meticulously organized binder of toxic letters from an ex you are currently battling in court is wild behavior.
Mm.
But posting it on Instagram is an aesthetic flex. That crosses into deeply concerning territory. It shows how the lines between private trauma and public content have entirely eroded for these creators.
It is objectively wild, but and I need you and the Snark Squad not to judge me for this. I am going to play devil's advocate for a second because I weirdly relate to the toxic urge to keep receipts and letters from exes. I don't have a display binder, okay? I'm not organizing my pain with tab dividers, but I do have a physical shoebox shoved under my bed that acts as my own personal burn book of past relationships.
Wait, I did not know this about you. What is in the box?
It is a museum of emotional damage. It has ticket stubs from terrible dates where men negged me for 2 hours. It has apology notes written on cocktail napkins by men who definitely cheated on me but swore they didn't. It has printed out screenshots of completely unhinged text arguments from 2017. Why do I keep it? I don't know. Maybe it's a tangible reminder of what I survived. Maybe it's proof that my intuition was right when I felt like I was being gaslit. I get the human impulse to catalog the chaos so you don't forget how bad it was.
I am simultaneously horrified and deeply fascinated by your emotional hoarding shoebox. Remind me never to cross you because I don't want to end up archived under your bed, but your explanation actually highlights the critical difference here. There is a vast psychological distinction between keeping a private shoebox of shame to process your own history and proudly displaying your toxic relationship binder on social media to farm engagement. Your shoebox is a coping mechanism. Kaler's binder is content.
Exactly. Content is king, even when the content is your own suffering. And speaking of people who view everything in their lives as raw material for a storyline, we have to pivot away from the suburbs of Utah. We are heading to the absolute elite tier of mess. Section 4, babes. Atlanta's boiling point.
The Real Housewives of Atlanta, the crown jewel of shade, where the drama isn't just about cheating, it's about parents cheating.
Let's break down Kelly Potter's highly revealing podcast interview. We have to rewind to the cast trip to Scotland. During that trip, Shemaya Morton dropped a nuclear bomb, claiming that Portia Williams' mother, Diane, tried to sleep with Shemaya's father.
Dragging the elders into the mud.
And Portia retaliated by claiming Shemaya's mom, Sarah, slept with Portia's husband's brother. It is an entire family tree of infidelity accusations.
It is like a soap opera written by a chaotic AI. But Kelly claims there's more to the story. She claims Portia poked Shemaya behind the scenes until Shemaya reached a boiling point.
Yes, Kelly pointed out that when Shemaya finally snapped, Portia calmly replied, "I knew you were going to say that." Kelly's logic is, how did Portia know unless Portia intentionally poked her off camera to drag that reaction out of her?
That is the poking strategy, and it is how veterans survive. They push someone's buttons off camera so the other person explodes on camera, and the veteran plays the victim. And Kelly didn't stop there. She also threw massive shade at Cynthia Bailey, calling her Portia's employee.
Calling Cynthia Bailey an employee of another cast member is lethal shade. But Kelly took no prisoners, because she also went off on Angela Oakley hiring a private investigator, a literal PI, to investigate Shemaya's marriage.
We have to pause on this. Hiring a PI to investigate your co-star's neighbor's husband is unhinged. Angela used this PI to accuse Shemaya of sleeping with neighbor Ashley Byram's husband, George. We have left reality TV and entered spy thriller territory.
Kelly slammed Angela as disgusting for looking for a splinter in someone else's marriage when her own is a mess.
Rejection is a powerful tool. If you live in a glass house, do not hire a private investigator to throw stones at your neighbor's windows.
Exactly. But Kelly might have gotten a little too high on her own supply because she claimed that she set the standard for fashion and events as a newcomer on RHOA.
Oh, sweetie, no. We need to check the hubris. When a newbie comes in and immediately claims they elevated the franchise, is it confidence or is it just a massive lack of self-awareness?
It is pure delusion, and Drew Sidor absolutely clocked her for it. Drew's epic clapback on Instagram was just one sentence. A true fashion girl never has to announce it. The outfits speak for themselves.
Boom. That is the wealth whisper strategy of reality TV shade.
It is brilliant. All right, babes, we have covered so much ground, but let's clean up the last few drops of tea left in the pot before we log off for the night. Section 5, housekeeping and quick sips.
Rapid fire. First up, Kim Zolciak's new man.
Kim's daughter, Ariana Bierman, approves of Kim's new boyfriend, Kyle Malkwitz, calling him one of the sweetest people. But Kyle is in a messy divorce of his own. His ex, Jillian, claims Kyle is paying Kim's rent and legal bills and wants an injunction.
So Kim barely escapes the financial ruin of her marriage, only to get funded by a new guy whose ex-wife is now legally dragging Kim into their divorce court. It's a never-ending cycle.
It really is. Meanwhile, up in the Berkshires, Dorinda Medley is selling off a 3.6-acre parcel of the iconic Bluestone Manor for $1.2 million.
We are watching the monetization of Bravo historical sites. Bluestone Manor is holy ground.
It is. And finally, Real Housewives of Rhode Island's Gary Tiberi, Joe Ellen's husband, who was previously accused of being a swinger, is getting fined almost $6,000 by the city of North Providence for having a yard full of garbage and weeds at a rental property.
You know, you are down incredibly bad when the local government has to clean your yard and charges you $6,000. Prioritize your landscaping over your swinger parties, Gary.
Priorities, Gary. Honestly, my voice is practically hoarse from yelling about all of this. We went through so much.
We really did. It has been a massive sociological journey, and it really brings me to a final provocative thought for the night.
Lay it on us.
If reality stars are willing to swap religions, hire PIs for their neighbors, and keep binders of toxic letters just for screen time, what does that say about the rest of us who consume it like it's a perfectly crafted cocktail? Are we the ultimate enablers?
Oh, we are absolutely the enablers. I will take the hit on this one. But Snark Squad, we want to hear from you. Which celebrity story shocked you the most today? What's the weirdest thing that happened to you this week? And what tiny inconvenience almost sent you over the edge recently?
We genuinely need to know we are not alone in our minor crises. Thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight.
Yes, thank you guys. Remind yourselves to subscribe, leave a review, and share the podcast with another gossip-loving babe.
Stay fabulous, stay a little nosy, and we'll see you on Snark Side.